any of you guys need them. We're selling them for $30. And also I brought some extra t-shirts from last year that were selling for $10, and I can show them to you if you want to see them.
On the website, genetics for under DAT materials, this 325 didn't work, so I just went ahead and removed it. And I got like 2 emails from people, so yeah, that's just removed until we get new. Unless you guys have all new data, you can send us to genetics 325, and we'll update the site and I'll share
Okay. So if there's anyone who has emailed their application to me, I'm gonna need a hard copy of that. So whenever you can, just print out your full application and turn it in.
Yeah, so next week / this week, I'm starting to take people who have already gone once so that they can go to SSE a second time and a third time eventually. So that is starting this week / next week. So if you have already gone once and I haven't picked you, definitely continue emailing me.
And sign in. There's a sign-in sheet if you haven't already. It's up here on the table. Make sure you okay.
And lastly, rotations are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thursday, Friday are for pedo, and pedo, they're all 1 to 4. And for the new members, if you guys want to do it, you need scrubs, so talk to Ryan about that. And sign up with me after the meeting if you guys want to. Friday also, for pedo opened up for Friday, so 1 to 4. But yeah. So do you guys have any questions before we start? No? Okay.
Okay, I'm going to start off with just kind of like the basic part of filling out the dental school application. The dental school this year, the application's launched on June 4th, and in case anybody doesn't know, this will be drilled into your mind. You need to apply it as soon as possible because it's rolling admission. So the earlier you apply, the kind of better chance you have because your application will get looked at first. Hopefully next year it'll open around June 4th too, and the process will open up like June 1st. I just explained that already. Okay, so this is once you log in, which you'll set up a dent pin when you take your DAT and stuff, and you'll be using that dent pin to apply as well. And you can set up the dent pin before June 4th, and so you have your login information and stuff all ready to go beforehand. Once you log in, this is what it looks like through ABPA, through the actual website. And so the first thing you're going to fill out is your regular information, pretty typical stuff. And then after you'll fill out like your own information, your parents and your family information, you'll fill out some background information. And so for when you're filling out this kind of stuff, a lot of people just like list out like bullet points like for describing activities that require manual dexterity, but you really want the whole application to kind of be like a story about yourself, and you want everything to like flow together. So it shouldn't be just like, just because this part of the application is completely separate from a personal statement, shouldn't be that they're like completely disjointed. They should kind of like flow together, if that makes sense. So try to like put this in like phrases or like proper sentences, even though there's a character limit. And just some examples of like what I put for manual dexterity. I like to like make furniture from reclaimed wood, so I wrote that down. I like to paint my nails with like weird intricate designs. I wrote that down. I like to decorate cakes. Just like be creative with it. They don't want to see the normal like, oh, I like to carve stuff, because that's what everybody likes. So just kind of try and be creative, like something that's going to make you stand out. After that, you just write if you have any family member, if you have any family members that are dentists. And then this is just explaining like kind of what you guys, the college application, like if you've ever been convicted of any felonies or anything, hopefully no one has. This is your disadvantage status. So this is like if you feel that the area that you grew up in was like socially disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged, stuff like that. Or personally, if you feel like you've been disadvantaged, this is where you would explain it. You have like pretty decent amount of characters to explain this. If you feel like you are disadvantaged, definitely explain it here. And then this is another kind of relating to disadvantaged status. After that, you'll fill in your high school information, but like not your grades or anything like that, just where you graduated from high school. After that, you're going to fill out all of the colleges that you've attended, and you have to list every single one that you've ever attended, what dates you went through. And then after you do that, this is the longest part of the application, is filling out your coursework. For this, I recommend that you print out all of your unofficial transcripts from whatever schools you've attended beforehand, so that you have it like sitting there next to you while you're filling this out. Because if you have it on your computer, going back and forth and stuff, it takes a long time. And you also, this is where you would list like your AP classes, IB classes, stuff like that, as long as the school that you went to, like as long as USC gave you credit for it. That's like when the AP stuff matters. Like, it's not gonna get counted into your like science GPA, but you'll still get like credit for it. After that, this is new for 2012. It's called a cover sheet. Before this, they used to, when they send out your application to all the dental schools, the very first page has like your information, like your name, where you went to school, and your GPA and your DAT scores, and that was kind of it. And so last year they implemented this new thing called a holistic cover sheet because they felt like it was too much like concentrating on statistics. So this is what dental schools first see when they get your application. This is the very first page that you see, so it's kind of a pretty important page. So I'll zoom in a little bit. So this is like the first part. This has just like your normal information. After that, it has all of your GPA information, your undergraduate and your graduate, and it goes through your BCP, your science, your non-science, and your total, which they'll explain how that's all calculated. And then after that, it has, after that it has your DAT scores. I don't have to zoom in on that, but right underneath this, it has your DAT scores, and even if you've taken it twice, most schools count the most recent one, but they will see both of them, because they both show up on your cover sheet. So just something to kind of keep in mind. After that, this is what's basically new for this year. It's like a mini resume. So these are like the different parts that you fill out later on in the application, your awards, your experience, any extracurricular activities, work experience, research experience, and stuff like that. And so even though, this was like an example from the ABA website, even though there's only 2 things listed for the first 2 categories, there's a max of 3 things that you can write. Even though for some categories you can write 10 on your application, you go through and you have to pick what 3 you want to show up on this cover sheet. Now, Chris is going to go over how your GPA is calculated.
So the BCP stands for biology, chemistry, physics. Those are like your core classes that most dental schools require. Like each, you'll usually require like 1 year of chemistry, 1 year of OChem, 1 year of Gen Bio, 1 year of physics. And then some schools will have like biochem or like physiology or even like zoology, I think. So those you have to just look in. There's no like general site for it. You just have to go to individual schools and find out. So BCP, again, just do general classes. Like basically, if it, like we're all SU students, so if it's like BIS something, that's biology. If it's chem something, that's chemistry, and physics. I think it's physics. So there are some other sciences like that are listed here. I mean, you can. Some classes, like some HP classes, are like science orientated, and since I'm pretty sure all of us can apply to SU, so you can list that, and like schools, I think they just have to check it or something. And these other sciences you can list them as well, but the more important one is the BCP. That one is like is really crucial. Like there's some schools have a cutoff for that, so if you don't meet the requirement, I wouldn't apply to that school. Non-science, so that's like everything else that's not BCP, like all your general stuff that you're taking for. So the GPA is calculated. There's online calculators you can find out. So like the pluses and minuses actually matter. It sucks for like some people. Like I went to a JC and they didn't give up pluses or minuses, so it's just flat out A, B, C. So it kind of sucks for that. And they do take in consideration other colleges you attend to. That's why you have to put it in. So it's like these are the points you get. You can calculate it yourself. There's plenty of online calculators to do it. So any undergrad courses as biochem and physics, like I said, science. So that's like they include math. For science, so like calculus, statistics, those fall into that as well. Non-science, everything else. But like I said, the most important ones are BCP and science, and like the breakouts right there. I mean, I don't really want to go through like 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, saying it all. So undergrad, there's a difference between if you're taking the post-bac, like as a grad student, there's 2 different GPAs. So like a lot of times I've heard you want to take post-bac instead of an actual grad program, but again, it's admissions to decide. So there's 2 separate GPAs. Like if your undergrad GPA is what it is, if you take grad school, that's a separate GPA we're considering. So after you listed all your coursework and stuff, remember to include AP scores if it shows up in your transcript. So you do personal experience, or like these are just random like things you can put in. So like awards, it's like anything you've received in colleges. I mean, you can put on there. Maybe you can put like gold membership, cardinal membership, I think, right? Dentistry shadowing experience. I'm sure all of you have shadowed a dentist, or if you haven't, I suggest getting on that because a lot of schools require a letter from a dentist. So like you put the stuff here, like the name of your dentist, your position title. So like I worked as a dental assistant for 2 different dentists. So I put the both in, and then the dentistry observed, you just describe it. There'll be a brief description. There's a limit for that too, so keep everything concise. Don't like go overboard on it. And they ask you for hours. I mean, I didn't really keep track of my hours, so like you ballpark it, you estimate like how many times you work per week, and then like how many days you went and you just multiply it or something. Unless you really did keep track, then you can give the actual numbers, so just ballpark it. And extracurricular volunteer, this is anything other than shadowing. So it's like, you could say you went to SSC, you did AUDA, you did all that stuff. Any volunteer work that you did in college. Yeah.
Are those things, if I'm record, like, if I forgot how many times I did SSC last year, could I, one of you guys and find that out?
I think we have a record, yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah, so you can find out for him and then. Do we know how we calculate the hours for that, or we just
It's like an hour.
an hour each?
1 point, 1 hour.
An hour every Friday.
So, I mean, the more you have, I guess, the better it looks. And for the cover sheet, like Andika mentioned, like these are things you can pull it from. So I put like on mine, I worked as a dental assistant for 2 different dentists, and I put like a community service. I mean, if you have some really good award, I definitely put that on there because like, oh, you stand out from other people. Because I'm sure most people would shadow dentists, so I mean, unless you have like a ridiculous amount of hours or something. Research experience, not many schools require research. I didn't do any research when I applied, but if you have it, put it in, it's good.
I was just,
Work experience, so if you have like a job, like I work for the Daily Trojan, so I put that in there. Again, estimate your hours and stuff too. So then the personal statement, this is probably the most important thing that you can do, because like, there's a word limit. I think it says on the next slide, it's like 1,500 characters, including spaces. So when you're typing this out, always check on like your Word document or whatever, how many words and spaces you have, because if you are over that amount when you copy and paste it in, it won't save. So you'll have to just keep like reducing words and stuff. That, for me, the hardest part was actually getting into that amount, because you could write so much, so like, you don't want to go over that limit, otherwise it'll save. And the key thing is to make it interesting. Everyone, like you can all say, oh, I had good grades, I like dentistry for this, this, and this. But what do you have that makes you interesting, that stands out? Definitely put that into here. And you like, they read so many essays, they don't want you to read the same like cookie cut material over and over again. So this is the, oh, it's 4,500 characters, not 15. Yeah. So like you have to, there's guidelines for you to do, like they have like a brief thing on the SES website, but you have to answer why dentistry. Because I mean, you can tell like your life story, but then they get from like, so what, why do you like dentistry? And there's like, you have this amazing background, but nothing about it, then it's like, that doesn't tell me anything. To start early, you can see, there's no prompt really, it's just really that question. So like, if you have, like I suggest if you like can think of something you want to write down, jot it down and then save it for later if you don't have time to start working on it. So the more ideas you have, you can start combining it at the end and then just finishing. Because last thing you want to do is like a week before and you're like, crap, I don't know what to write, and you're scrambling and it's not as good as it can be. And I suggest having other people read it, because like you can think you're interesting, but if someone else reads it and they're like, wow, this is not good or like really boring, you have to revise it. And you want to do that earlier because you want all the feedback you can get before you submit it. Yeah, read your drafts, yeah, tell a story. So this is like a quote that, like I said, basically sums up what I just said. Like, don't put the generic cookie cutter essay that a lot of people would write. Yeah, for me, I love photography, so like I started off with that, and I like connected that, or I led into why dentistry. Like, if you have a good way of doing it, then you're solid on the personal statement. But I had my dentist read it, and he started chuckling when he first started reading it, so I was like, well, that's a good sign because it's interesting. And then the layers of rec, I think Ryan's gonna start covering this.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. to talk to you today about the letter of recommendation. So basically, the earlier you ask your professors, the better. Because, I mean, if you give them more time, then they're more likely to write a better letter. And when you're asking them, it's okay to ask if they can write a strong letter of recommendation, because they realize that you need good letters, and if they feel like they're not really in the position to provide you a strong letter, then it's better that you get something from someone else anyway. I think it's best to ask in person, and then just tell them about like the timeline of applying, just give them a ballpark. And the maximum letters for ADSES is 4. And you need 2 science professors and 1 dentist for most schools. And then for the 4th one, I did my like research professor as like the extra one. Okay, so at USC we have this service called like the LOR service. And so basically, you you set it up through them, through the LR service, and you tell them you get this matching form, and then you take it to your professors, and then they sign it and everything. And basically, the advantage to using this is that if you're planning on applying like right when the cycle opens, then USC will compile all of your letters together, and they send it to ADSES like as a package, like right when it opens. So for me, my professors lagged a little bit, and like by the time they were finished, ADSES had already sent them the email that like they could just submit directly. So I paid for this and then like didn't use it. So when you're getting your letter of rec, you need to put together a packet of information to give the professors so they have stuff to go off of for the letter. Get a nice little folder from the bookstore with the USC logo on it. And like on the cover letter and instruction sheet, you just start off by like thanking them for writing the letter, and maybe talk to them a little bit about like the things you think they could write about with you. Like if maybe you didn't get the best grade in their class, but you always went to their office hours and worked really hard, then you could maybe like talk about that in the cover letter. And then your personal statement, the matching form so that they can like do the paperwork and submit it the right way. And if they choose to submit a hard copy of it, then it's good to give them an envelope that's like stamped and addressed and everything. Just basically make it as easy as possible for your professors. Yeah, I talked about this a little bit. Yeah, so show them that you're appreciative and give your contact information. Yeah, I already talked about this. CV, it's basically like a resume. You can just like show off to them a little bit and include things that maybe they could talk about, or maybe they could say that they can see you're really well accomplished. And it's good to include a copy of your personal statement. For me, I wasn't totally done with mine yet, so I just gave like a rough draft, just so they know why I want to be a dentist, and they can see that I'm really passionate about it. So, yeah, so basically, I mean, the professors are really busy people, and a lot of people ask them for letters, so you kind of have to walk a fine line between like reminding them every once in a while and also like nagging them. You don't want to piss them off at all. And it's preferable if they get it in like by May, at the end of school. Yeah, and then after they submit it, it's a good thing to thank them, maybe give them more of a gift, or just a thank you card. I kind of you know, messed up on that one. I didn't thank any of them. So don't follow my example. It's good to show some appreciation. I mean, by then the letter's already in, right? Alright, so this is what I was talking about earlier with the access submission. Like, if you, I mean, there's the thing on AdSense where you have to list out the professors that are going to write letters for you, and then as soon as you do that and provide their email address, AdSense actually sends an automatic email to them, like with instructions on how to submit and everything, and it just goes straight to AdSense. So all my professors got that, and then they used that one instead of the USC service, and it actually was a little bit confusing to them. I should have given them a heads up on that, because like some of them already submitted to the USC service, and then they got this one, and then so yeah, I just ended up using this. Yeah, that's what I just talked about. Yeah. So yeah.
If you're going to use the USC letter rec service, you don't actually put your professors on the AdSAS application. You just put the USC as committee letter.
Oh, that's what you did?
Yeah, that's what the website says if you're going to use their service. So.
Well, on the like USC service thing, it said like this is not a committee letter.
Yeah, it says to put it as a committee letter, though. That's what I did.
All right.
It worked
So
out.
yeah, do that. And yeah, any questions about that or?
Professors that you asked recommendations?
Yeah, it was. I mean,
Like, what did you do to get close to?
well, basically, basically, like, even if you're like a freshman, it's never too early to start going to office hours. That's really the way to get to know them. I mean, I kind of lagged on that too, actually. Cause like, I was one semester out from applying, and I was like, ooh, I need to get to know some professors, so I started going to office hours that semester. But like, yeah, I mean, you never want to be put in a situation where you have to ask a professor that doesn't really know you, because then you'll just basically be going in like, well, I got this grade in your class, and they don't know anything else about you. So I mean, some professors will do that for you, but a lot of them won't. So yeah, just go to office hours, and like, basically what I would do is I would just think of like one or two good questions, like even if I already knew the answers to them, I would just like have these questions go in, get my foot in the door, and then just like schmooze them up a little bit, you know. Just and then just be like, oh, like, what are you researching? Okay. So yeah, basically.
Just a quick thing about transcripts. A lot of people take their DAT like while they're applying, like they take it the summer that they're applying. So like even the application opens up June 4th, like a lot of people take the DAT like end of July, early August or something like that. Your application won't get sent to dental schools until your DAT score is in. And that usually takes about like 2 weeks to get in, sometimes longer depending on like how busy they are. So keep that in mind and make sure you have everything ready on your application, ready to go. And like send in your application and submit it even before you take the DAT, even though your application won't get sent out. And as far as transcripts go, I'm sure you guys experienced this when you applied to SC, like transcripts get lost in the mail. I had 2 transcripts get lost in the mail when I sent them in, and it's a really frustrating process. So even if you're not gonna submit until like July 1st, for example, on June 4th, make sure you set up your application so you can at least print out the transcript matching forms and send in your transcript like as soon as possible, because they'll update you on like the website when your transcripts, as soon as they get it, they'll like electronically submitted, whatever, or if they got it mailed in, they'll have like the exact date that your transcript comes in. It's kind of a hassle to like, send your transcript, so make sure you guys do that like super early.
And for SC, their transcript they're ordering online. There's once you fill out the form, there's a place you can submit like any attachment. So that's what I did. Like I wasn't here when I was doing that, so I uploaded the matching letter form, and they just attached to it and they sent it in. And definitely get a head start on that, because like a lot of colleges like they use snail mail. It'll take like forever to send it in. Like the last thing you want to be doing is like have everything else in, but then just waiting on that one college to send in.
That's why I'm in. Yeah, that's why I'm in the second batch.
And also another thing is, some schools, like one of the community colleges I went to, they wouldn't, like first class, my transcripts, because your transcripts get sent to like a PO box to the ADA, like it doesn't get sent to like an actual after school. Well, I sent, so like they would have first class mail it, so your transcripts get lost and you think you can first class it overnight, it's not. And so make sure you guys like deal with transcripts as soon as possible.
And same with the professor's letter of rec, you can do it by paper or you can do it like electronically. And so either way, make sure they have the thing. And if you, it's easier if it's electronic for them, because like they don't have to deal with the letters and stuff. But like, and it's also like you can't really get lost through the internet, I guess, unless like some weird thing happens. But like no matter, like you could like literally write the address wrong and like next thing you know it comes back to you and like, oh crap.
Any questions?
Yeah?
Wait, so the letter has to be from a professor and it can't be from like a live TA or like somebody?
Yeah, and even if you do research with a professor, if you don't have them for an actual lecture course, like, that can't count as one
Oh, okay.
professor.
And make sure you guys look into your specific schools that you're interested in, because all schools have different requirements. Like some schools will specifically say like, we want your letter recommendation, one to be from a biology professor, like one to be from a chem professor. Other schools are just like, any 2 science professors is fine. So make sure you guys look into schools that you're really interested in.
If they say any science, like just like physiology or anatomy
Yeah.
or any of those, like, how do you know what exactly is science though?
If it says any science, I think that basically any class that gets calculated into your BCP would count.
Oh, okay.
And it's recommended you do 2 different kind of science professors. Like you don't want to do 2 bio, like do like a chem and a bio, or like a physics. But
If you have DAP and for physics, it's chill. Any more questions? Yeah?
Did you get recommendation letters from professors that you took maybe a year or 2 years?
Yeah.
What I did is when I took the class, like I had a professor write mine that I actually took a freshman year. And like when I finished the class, I like emailed him, I was like, listen, I'm gonna find a dental school in 2 years, like, would you write me a letter of recommendation? And like every so often I would stop by his office or keep up with an email. And when I emailed him to actually write me the letter, I like conveniently had our old emails like at the very bottom of the email. So like he remembered that like he'd already agreed to write me a letter.
So then we typically apply like this summer after junior year?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you wanna go to dental school
Like right
the
away.
fall of after your senior year.
otherwise you take like a year or 2 off right after senior year.
Which isn't a bad thing.
Anything else? Anyone else?
What makes people want to take a gap year instead of applying right after?
Some people, they want to get like more experience in, like more stuff to put on your thing, or like they take like back, they consider that as like a gap year. It's like you just like stat pad, I guess.
If you are taking a gap year and you're not taking any classes, make sure you're prepared to like write that on your application and explain it at like an interview, because if you're not taking any classes during your gap year, it's counted as like an academic break. And they ask that on your application, like, have you had any academic breaks? If so, why? And if you are taking gap year, make sure you still like shadow a little bit, even though like you think that year they're not gonna look at it. The schools will do like updates and stuff in December sometimes, so like they'll ask like, well, what have you been doing this whole semester?
Right, they do that in like November, they'll send an email, like, you can, because, like I said, most people applied like last summer, or this past summer, and obviously you're taking classes now, so they have like an academic update, so you can submit your current classes, your plans for next semester and whatnot. Just a way to keep it updated, otherwise it's like, it really doesn't matter right now, but they have that for that purpose.
Do you have to officially say that you're taking a gap year? Probably not. Okay.
I mean,
I
it
did it, I'm
shows-
taking a gap year right now, I didn't like, but I'm still taking like.
Well, you said that like
classes.
schools would like ask you for an update
Like,
maybe?
they just ask if you've had an academic break,
Okay.
so like, you can just say, I'm not taking classes right now because I finished my degree and I feel like academically prepared for dental school, like, I don't feel like I need to take any more classes or something like that.
Because like when you,
I was gonna say, it like shows up like on your transcripts, like you graduated in like this year, May or whatever, and that you will be entering demo school to like next year or something like that, so they figure it out. Oh, yeah, and there's a
That's
section
part
like
I
for,
can update.
when you, put your classes, your coursework into the DA, you can, not you can, you have to. If you're taking classes like this semester, for example, you would write in there like fall 2012, whatever, like these are the classes that I'm taking. And if those classes change and you don't wanna wait until the academic update, you can always email the schools directly and be like, hey, like, I decided to change my schedule, just wanted to let you know, this is what I'm taking this fall. And like, I did that for like 3 or 4 schools that I was really interested in, cause I changed my schedule and I wanted to know ahead of time that I had to change it, and didn't wanna wait till November. And they save all your emails that you send them, so be sure you keep that in mind when you're emailing schools. Like, they're required to keep that like on record anytime you email them. So make sure you're super professional when you email them, even if it's like a quick question like, hey, did you guys get my letter of recommendation? Make sure you're polite and make sure you're really professional.
Fun first, we didn't cover secondary apps. I forgot about that. So after you submit everything to AdSense, they'll have to verify, like there's a button you press at the end and it says verify, so like they ask you, are you sure this is everything you want? Because once you submit, you can't change anything other than your address. So like say if like you live here and you move somewhere else next year, you can update that as you go on. But make sure you have everything verified, so once you submit that in, you look at the schools that you applied to and then you go to their website, or there's a link on AdSense that says supplemental material, and then usually a lot of schools it's just like application fee, or sometimes they'll be like, don't do anything until we further contact you, and once you get contacted, it's usually like an application. Sometimes they'll have to make you write more stuff, other times it'll just be a fee. Some places want you to send in a picture, so get good pictures, because like, it helps them know what you look like, so like it gives them like a face, otherwise it's just text on a paper or like on their computer screen. They don't know, like, they can't judge you based on that. And you definitely want to do that as soon as possible when you submit, because like you don't want to have them waiting on that. Because even if they get your application but you don't have the secondary fee paid, they're not going to move on it.
And when you fill out your application, you're filling out your like personal experience, your dentistry experience, your award honors. Make sure you fill that out in like a Word document and then like copy and paste or something, because a lot of the school supplementary apps are basically re-asking you what you already wrote on your application. So if you have all that saved on Microsoft Word document, it's super easy to just stick that into your supplementary app.
Yeah, definitely a good idea to do your app on something else and just copy and paste and turn it in. Because like you don't want to like time out and then like all of a sudden you lost all your work, or like it accidentally got saved or something like that.
Any more questions? Both of these presentations will be on our website, because I'm assuming you guys are going to be applying next summer or after that, so you guys can always access all this information. And feel free that when you guys are applying, even though like some of us won't be here next summer, like, feel free to apply or email us while you're applying if you guys have any questions or anything like that. Well, thank you guys for coming. Hope that it was helpful.